In this tutorial in CyberLink AudioDirector, we're going to look at how to lengthen a music audio clip using a technique called looping. We're going to use a special looping tool called the Audio Remix, which in many cases can save you lots of time. I have 3 audio files I have in my bin here for AudioDirector. And I need to go to, not from the Edit tab, I'm going to move to the Mixing tab at the very top. And I've taken each of these 3 and placed them here in different tracks. I've muted track number 2 and track number 3. We're going to focus on track number 1. Now, track number 1 has a clip I'd like to lengthen. I automatically lengthened it manually by looping on track number 2. Now, looping basically takes a repetitive section of your music track and it cuts it out and then inserts it at the beginning 1, 2, 3 as many times as you need, and then it pushes the original track up to the end, because at the end there's usually a different ending. So let's listen to a few measures of my original track called Observer, and you'll get the picture. So this is a great candidate for audio remix. It has a regular beat. It's pretty easy to find out where it wants to cut it. So let's see how it does that. With the item placed on any track you like in the mixing room, you click on the Adjust Audio adjustment area, and then you go down to the 5th item called Adjust Length with Audio Remix. We're not going to change the speed. AudioDirector analyzes the clip and then it tries to give you a sense of what it's going to do with it. Now right now the new audio length hasn't changed at all. That's the original. It's 19.651 seconds. So let's change it to 1 minute and roughly 5 seconds. Now I'm going to click on the gear to the right for a reason, because if I click on the gear I get to see something special. When I click on this, it will say stretch to exact duration. I don't want to do that because I don't want it precisely that length. I want it approximately that length. If I need it exactly that length, it will not only remix it, it will also alter it a little bit to adjust to the number of seconds that you specify in the time code to the left of the gear. So watch what happens when I turn this off. It will change the length of this just a little bit. Okay, so now it's kind of natural. I didn't shrink it, I didn't grow it. But now I have my lengthened audio, and let's go ahead and see what happens when I get near the end of the first cycle. Very seamless, and so this works really good on this clip. But if you notice, the one I did manually, if you look at the waveform, is slightly different. So what I did when I did this manually is I took a much longer section and I made that the section I repeated, because down here I have some drums. If I click on this section up here and I move my playhead to this section up here, listen to what we have. It only repeated the very first part of it. If I unmute it and turn on my second clip and go to the same area, okay, what I did is I took a bigger chunk manually than I did using this technique. I've found it's very difficult to get this to take larger sections. It just depends on your personal preferences whether you like it or not. But the end result here was great. I mean, there's no way anyone could tell that this wasn't the original length of my audio clip. So Observer worked really good. It got it to the same length as my other clip that I did manually, even though it got there using a slightly different algorithm. Now let's mute all of these tracks here. And I'm going to look at another one here. We'll unmute another option we have. This is called Forever and Ever. Let's go ahead and play a little bit of this and see what happens. Now this one doesn't have any repeating sections. Let's see how it handles it. So I'm going to highlight that clip, click back on Adjust Length Audio Remix, and let's see, the original is 20. Let's go again to just a little over a minute. That would be 60 seconds. So we'll go 1 minute and let's go 3 seconds. And I'll click on the gear again. I don't want to stretch it at the very end. And let's see how it handles it in this case. I'm not nearly as happy with this way of doing it because it basically took the end and it went almost all the way to the end of the original file and then just began again with a fade. Now you can make some adjustments in this. If I take the long dimension and I move it, you notice it's going to change it. When I go to 80, let's listen to see what the difference is here. You have two sounds kind of on top of one another. It doesn't fade out so much, but it's not quite what I'm after anyway. So let's back this up again and let's go down to 40 and see what happens. Again, it's much the same result. And let's try just under 20 and see what happens here. It has a much harder time with this particular clip in trying to figure out how to move seamlessly from one segment to another. So the tool is not foolproof. There are certain musical clips that are very hard to analyze, and you can make some adjustments to them using the short and long segment tool. You can also adjust it with the max, which will adjust the length a little bit. Let's see how that adjusts it when I put it up to about 18 here. It still doesn't sound nearly as smooth as my first example. But so depending on the nature of the clip, the tool can save you lots of time if it's an easy one to analyze. If it's a tough one, you're still stuck with some difficult choices, or you may even have to go back and loop manually. But that's a little peek at the audio remix tool for looping a music clip to lengthen it in CyberLink AudioDirector.